excited for this week. Excited for another opportunity to prepare to go 1-0. Obviously, we're all pretty tired. Getting out of here at whenever we did, midnight, 1 a.m. on Saturday, and then turning around and having a practice tomorrow, or having a practice the next day, and then us coaches. Normally we have all day Monday to game plan with the players having off, but today we have practice. We have meetings starting at 3:30, so a lot of propped up eyelids right now in terms of preparation, but on these short weeks, things tend to get back to normal after today's practice. We'll watch film, have a condensed version of a Tuesday practice today, and then kind of a Wednesday practice tomorrow, Thursday practice on Wednesday, and then things should be back into their routine. Injury-wise, obviously pretty banged up, but nothing too serious. Sam Ellinger's MRI came back just a re-aggravation of the old injury. He's not going to throw today, and we should see him throw tomorrow. And then, Chris Nelson's got a knee contusion. He'll be fine. Chris Boyd, knee contusion. Trey Watson, hip contusions, bothering him a little bit, but it should work itself out by the end of the week. But like I said, I think our guys are really excited for the week to prepare, and we know we've got a tough road ahead of us. Questions?
Tom, we all know about the 1-0 mentality, but given where you stand right now in year two, the position you're in, the opportunity you have, what's that say about the progress in your program?
Yeah, I think you can talk about the two subjects being 1-0 and the progress of our program and not be misaligned. We've come a long way, and we're by far a finished product. I would argue that we're overachievers at this point. When you look throughout the landscape of our conference, how many first-team all-conference guys do we have on our starting 22? I don't know. I think we got some pretty good players, but we've got a lot of guys that know how to play team football, and we're overachieving, and that's the sign of progress, is when your culture can take over and win some games, and we've got some young talent that we're developing, so I'm excited about our progress.
Tom, obviously 2 years ago was one of the most embarrassing moments in this program's history there. Do you find any cosmic karma in the fact that y'all are going back to the same place to try to get a spot in the Big 12 title?
No. I feel like that program that went there, I feel like that was 50 years ago, not 2 years ago. That we're so far past that point in our program, and no, there's no hidden significance of it.
Yeah. But still, though, Omenahu, Buechele, the older guys, openly talked about. Buechele said we need to go there and make it right. Some of those guys feel like they may need to vanquish some ghosts there. I know, you're right. But do you at least acknowledge that to some of these guys, what happened there last time was a bad deal for them, and they need to go there and, like Buechele said, make it right?
Yeah, if whatever gets a guy to motivate himself to the fullest to come to work, to prepare and give his all for his teammates each and every day. I don't care if it's reading a quote book or thinking about previous games or a game you won or lost in high school. If it helps get you excited about practice, then great.
On your right, Stacy. Tom, we talk a lot about the development of specific players, but I'm curious what you think and how you've developed as a head coach, because you're still relatively young as a head coach at this level, very successful at Houston, came here with a big challenge. Now there's evidence of a turnaround. So I guess essentially, how would you grade yourself as a head coach?
Incomplete. I'll grade myself as a head coach when I retire.
Tom, Kansas put up a bunch of yards and a bunch of points against Oklahoma. What does that tell you about that team, having a lame duck coach, and a lot of people say they don't have much to play for, and what they did Saturday? And my follow-up question, you're an expert. Who will win between West Virginia and the Oklahoma Sooners?
The team that scores at least one more than the other.
Thank you, Coach.
You asked, and I think it's important for me to say, those kids love David Beatty, and they should. Good friend of mine, hell of a football coach. And although the records over the years may not have seen, I think all of us with a trained eye can watch the video each and every week. They've been in pretty much every game that they've played. And obviously they've won 2 games this year versus Power 5 opponents, which is more than they had there previously. So I would say that they've made a ton of progress since Coach Beatty took over. And you can certainly see that on the field. They're playing, offensively, they're running the football. Obviously, Puka Williams is one of the best players in the league. And defensively, they've switched to a 3-man front and pose a lot of issues from a schematic standpoint on that side of the ball. So you asked about what, them scoring 40 points in Norman. To me, that tells me that they love their head coach, and they love being a part of that program.
On LJ's touchdown reception, that was a very unique formation, brought in an extra offensive lineman, 2 tight ends. What's that look? Is that designed to leave the receiver one-on-one, or it also looked like they carried 2 guys on the tight end? What's the read on that play, and what else can you run from that formation?
Yeah, the read on that play was tight end. Obviously, we're trying to get Cade Brewer out on a little pop pass, sell the inside zone, and then the outside receiver had a stop route. So it's, there were literally 2 guys in the route. So you wanted to know the read, tight end to receiver, and then yeah, we'll carry that formation and variations of it for short yardage and goal line. I would imagine this week too. We haven't gotten to that part of our game planning just yet, but it was something that, again, you force defenses to have to work on.
Hey, Coach, last season you guys were 3-3 at home. This year you're going to finish 5-1. Just talk about, from a program development standpoint, what it means for you to be able to defend your home turf and win here.
I know maybe it sounds like coach speak, but it's not. Our fans and our student body have helped us win those games. There's no doubt in my mind that they are directly responsible for part of that turnaround at home. And Chris Delconte and his vision and his enactment of that vision as well. And so I don't know that it's much more than that. That we're better this year, and our fans and our students are better. So that improvement in all fronts leads to more success on the field.
And Tom, for those of us who were there in Lawrence a couple of years ago, it was like a bomb went off in the visitors' locker room. Have any of your players even mentioned that game to you?
Mm-mm.
And what are your thoughts? I know you're into the psychology of athletes. What are your thoughts on the term closure? My thoughts on the term, it's a good one.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think athletes leave anything open to be closed. It's just, you can't function that way. You can't give your all that way. I think win or lose, regardless of opponent and regardless of venue, you have to move on. And it requires a skill to make sure that you do it properly. But, again, that was 2 years ago. Seems like 50 years ago. I don't, it was very, there's no need for closure. That's not, we played a lot of football since then, and we've grown up a lot as a team.
You mentioned all conference players. So how many elite?
Some.
I was going to ask you how many elite players do you have now.
I'm going to beat you to it.
Very good. So how many do you have now, elite players, and who's come the farthest on your team?
Again, I don't keep a running tally of elite players. We've got enough to win the amount of games that we've won. But who's come the farthest? Whew. I'd say our offensive line, as a whole. And again, we've stayed relatively consistent up there too, which is a big part of it. I think Charles' game has steadily improved over the course of the year. Amenahue, that is. I think our quarterback has certainly improved from week 1 to now.
Coach, you always talk about the confidence you have in Shane. Why not go with him this week and let Sam rest the arm and rehab with what's lying ahead possibly?
Because we're going to play the best players, the players that give us the best chance to win, regardless of opponent. Sam's earned the right that if he's healthy to start the game, he's proven that he can win really big ball games for us and perform that way. And we're gonna. We're gonna need we're gonna need our best to win, and we are very confident in Shane Buechele. But there's a reason that Sam Ehlinger is our starting quarterback, and if our best is healthy, we're going to play our best.
Tom, I assume Family Friday will be Family Thursday this week. Do you have any plans for the guys on Thanksgiving? What are your guys' travel plans for this week?
It'll be a normal. That's one of the part of being a college football player is you go 4 or 5 years and you don't get a real Thanksgiving. So what we'll do is we will practice in the morning on Wednesday since there's no class. Players that are within kind of central Texas, if you will, hour and a half, they'll be able to go home Wednesday evening and be back Thursday morning for walkthroughs, and then obviously we got to get on a plane and fly to Kansas. Those that live farther than that away, they'll celebrate with their position coaches at their house on Wednesday evening, and then Thursday, we might have turkey for dinner or something, but it's a normal, what would be a Friday for us.
Coach, you were talking earlier about the fatigue level, and especially at this time of year when the weather's changing, you're getting cold and everything else, and coming off a game as physical as this one was against Iowa State and the 4 running up to it, how you guys are running all over the field to keep up with these offenses. Do you approach these games any differently based on the fact that you guys are a little bit more beat up, or you guys have had to put so much in these last few games?
We don't approach the game any different. We approach practice different. Yesterday's practice, instead of a normal Sunday, which is helmets and the little foam spider pads and full speed and all that, it was walk through with no helmets and tennis shoes. Today will be full pads. We need it. We need to continue to tackle. I think you saw the benefit of that from our defense of going full pads the week prior. But we'll just be on the field less. Today we'll be on the field, what would it be, hour and 15 minutes, and tomorrow about an hour, Thursday probably 50 minutes to an hour, or Wednesday. I already think today's Tuesday. So, but I think just duration of time on the field is how you manage that.
I just wanted to get some clarity on Sam. So is it fair to say that you're going to do the same sort of week that you did after Baylor?
Yeah, progression, yes.
Okay, and so by Wednesday or Thursday, you'll know without a doubt?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. I would say by Thursday, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But you probably know now where he's at.
I mean, I know he's not throwing today. I mean, he wouldn't play today. But our doctors and trainers did an excellent job last time. It's not as severe as last time. He'll tell you again. I said, after the game that he even said it feels different. He wanted to go back in the game where against Baylor he couldn't even lift his arm up. So I think you'll see a steady progression, but he's pretty sore today.
Tom, 17 touches for Keontae, 16 for Trey against Iowa State. Both guys obviously had really strong showings. So they both have their own strengths and weaknesses, but what has it kind of meant for this offense that you can sort of alternate between those two guys at running back and the team doesn't really seem to miss a beat?
Yeah, we're playing better up front, so that helps. And to have some consistency. I think Trey's probably had his best 3 games since he's been here. He's running harder in terms of breaking arm tackles and bouncing off people and not letting the first guy bring him down. Obviously, Keontae still got some work to do with seeing some things, but when he does and he explodes through the hole, he's pretty talented. And so, the offense in general. You guys see when you stay healthy, you stay consistent. You're in the same system for the second year in a row. This is the natural progression of things.
And that dynamic between them, obviously, you have the fifth-year guy in Trey and a true freshman in Keontae who's just getting started, but seems like he has a bright future. Have you seen Trey kind of, sort of take on a mentorship role?
Oh,
with
yeah.
Keontae?
Yeah, Trey's a fantastic leader. He's very gregarious, really, really bright kid, always got a smile on his face, but extremely competitive, too. But he knows, having played college football for 5 years, he kind of knows the expectations of how to prepare to get yourself ready to be at your best on Saturdays. And, that's rubbed off on everybody in that room, not just Keontae.
Tom, Brecken had an impassioned statement about this week and getting ready again, and it's an 11 a.m. game. The reality is sometimes you got to bring a little bit more juice on the road. Is that something you guys rely on your seniors' leadership to make sure you guys are ready to roll right at 11?
Yeah, I can't imagine. How could you not be excited to play in a game? If they told us the kickoff was at 7 a.m., I think our guys would be pretty excited, knowing the ramifications of what going 1-0 this week would mean, and kickoff time, again, venue, opponent. It's unfathomable for me to, and I hope they're listening right now, that anybody could not be excited to play in that football game.
Tom, can you talk about after looking at the film, what the increased pressure that you brought on defense meant to that game, and what's your philosophy on getting after a veteran quarterback versus a younger quarterback, and is that the personality of your defense that we saw?
Yeah, I don't think we didn't bring a whole lot more pressure. I think the biggest key to that game defensively was first and second down. When we have teams in 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13, 3rd and 10, you can be a lot more creative with the pressures that you bring and the coverages that you play. For a couple games there, you know, it had been a 3rd and medium fest, you know, and it's dealer's choice on offense. You want to run a screen, draw, inside zone, quick game, drop back, you know, mesh routes to attack man coverage, you know, get the ball out quick. So, you know, pretty much the playbook is open, so to speak, for offenses on 3rd and medium. When you push it back to, you know, 3rd and long, 3rd and extra long, that's when you can get a little creative. So I don't think it has to do with experience level of quarterback one bit. It has to do with the fact that we were able to be successful on 1st and 2nd down and create 3rd and longs.
Tom, I know obviously the goal on Saturday is winning, but you mentioned the full padded practices, and Matt Campbell said after the game the more physical team won the game. How important was it for your guys to get back to playing with that physical edge that you played with on both sides of the ball earlier in the year?
Really important. You know, it's again, there is a bit of a give and take in terms of you know, Iowa State, you know, we feel like is the second most physical team in the Big 12, and so we knew we were going to have to match and or exceed their physicality to have a chance in that game. Whereas in the other games, you know, the style that they play might lend itself for you to play a little bit differently too. And I'm not saying we'll ever not play physically, but I think there's like I said, a little bit of both there. You know, the opponent we were playing was really stinking physical too, and I appreciate Coach Campbell saying that about us. That's a tremendous compliment. But your original question, yeah, it was very important for us to get back to, you know, playing ball the way that we've designed our program to play.
Two last ones, start on the far right, Chuck.
Last two.
Tom, if my shaky memory is correct, after Oklahoma, you talked about the LJ yards after catch play as being a culture play for you guys. We've seen more of that going forward here. Even now, when you see it and your players see it, it seems like there's an emotional lift when he does that, when he breaks the tackles, when he gets the extra 7 yards or goes for a touchdown. Do you see that, or is that just the view from the press box? And could you also talk about his evolution as a receiver this year, kind of year over year?
Yeah, I think, yeah, there's definitely an added energy that he brings when he plays so physically. You know, it's whenever you see your culture embodied in a play or a player, you want to celebrate it and, you know, shoot fireworks off and, you know, shine spotlights on it and the whole nine. And so we make a really big deal about plays like that, again, like any member of any organization, you want to be publicly praised. And so if LJ Humphrey's doing something that gets all of this attention and notoriety from his teammates and coaches, then maybe the guy sitting next to him is going to look, oh, I want to feel like that. I want my name on a highlight plaque or whatever it is. And so I think it's important, but it's also important to know, you know, there were 5 offensive linemen and a tight end pushing that pile too. And they take a lot of pride in that too, that if LJ's still up and fighting, they're going to go get in that fight with him. And it's a pretty proud moment, you know, when those things happen. And his evolution, I think you're seeing him, one, he's got a ton of confidence right now, as he should. I think, you know, as with any position, you know, good play leads to confidence, which leads to better play, which leads to more confidence, and it becomes a flywheel effect, if you will. But he's really starting to be a technician. I think last year he got by because he's just so football smart and could just kind of feel his way around things. And now I think you're seeing him really kind of dissect, coverages and man techniques. Is he outside leverage, inside leverage, head up leverage? Is he a jam guy? Is he an off guy? If it's zone, who's underneath me? Who's on top of me? How do I find the voids in those zones on this specific route that I'm supposed to run? So just all of the detail things that go into playing receiver, I think he's getting a lot better at.
Last one here on the left, Kurt.
Yeah, I wanted to get your thoughts on Les Miles being hired at Kansas and how you think his conservative offensive philosophy will fit in this somewhat wide open offensive league.
I honestly, Kirk, I haven't had a whole lot of time to digest it. I think he's a tremendously respected coach in our profession. He's won a national championship. He's a great man. All of my dealings with him have been phenomenal, and we wish him nothing but the best. I don't know what we haven't talked football. I don't know what his philosophy is.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.